Welcome into the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Progressive rock seems to have been the theme this week, so we're going to stick with that and talk about Big Big Train and their new album, Welcome to the Planet. That was released on January 28th. This is the 14th studio album for the band and follows their 2021 effort, Common Ground. And before I begin this, I just want to give a shout out to Our Family in Motion. Thank you very much for suggesting that I review this record. I actually was not familiar with Big Big Train before you made that request. And going back and digging through their catalog the last few days, exploring this band and preparing for this review has really been a lot of fun. So thank you again for making that recommendation. And I also say that research comes with a heavy heart. If you're familiar with the band, you're probably aware that lead singer David Longdon passed away back in November. And I bring that up because this band has been a revolving cast of characters since its inception. But I would say there's something about the chemistry that longstanding member Greg Spontan has developed with David Longdon. And I just feel that in listening to their music, you can just hear them getting better and better with every record that they made. And I believe they made roughly 8 together. There's just something about that dynamic between the two of them when they're writing songs and creating that just feels unparalleled with any other members in the band. So while I really think that any incarnation of this band is great, and while I hope that this band is able to move forward, and it's probably not even crossing their mind right now. This is a very difficult time, and I'm sure that family members, friends, fans, a lot of people out there would give just about anything, including this new record, to have David back. But it's certainly a pleasure to have this new record. It's very bittersweet, but the message on this album is positive, and I believe his message overall, his life was positive and beautiful. And I think that as hard as it might be right now, that reminding ourselves of that and keeping that in mind when we listen to David and listen to this band, I think is really important. But like I said, I hope that they're able to move forward and continue to make music because I love the progressive style that they have. It's light. It reminds me a lot of alternative music in the 90s, some of that lighter stuff. I think of Toad the Wet Sprocket, think of Live, think of some of those other bands, but certainly working with a much more progressive element within that style. The string arrangements on this record are beautiful. The horn arrangements on this record are beautiful. And I mean, David's voice is amazing. He reminds me a lot of Michael Stipe at moments on this record. And I certainly hear a big influence of REM's sound as well in this album and in their music. And certainly, it's really fun the way that these guys draw on so many different influences, but the way that they're putting together these compositions, they're so unique, they're so original. And again, I really have enjoyed listening to this band, and I think you guys will like this album as well. It opens up with Made from Sunshine, actually written by David Longdon. And I think it's actually his only writing contribution on this record, but certainly a great way to open up this record. It's light but urgent. I think it's really a great reflection of their overall sound. I love how explosive this song becomes, and the horns in it are amazing, really nicely done. Great way to open the record. It leads into the Connection Plan, which I love the violin intro on this song. It just creates this immediate frenzy, and then the bass comes in. It's super groovy. Greg on the bass on this record, really exceptional. Definitely enjoyed that element of this album. That second song leads into Lanterna, your third track, which is probably one of my favorites, one of my two favorites on this record. It's got this slow intro, great melody, and it just builds into this big chugging rocker. I really enjoyed that composition a lot. Capitoline Venus, is this gentle ballad, really just a nice change of pace in the record. But this thing pretty much is rocking pretty hard for the most part. A Room with No Ceiling is your fifth song, psychedelic instrumental track. And this is one of those songs where it really just highlights their creative abilities as songwriters. And I think of that 90s alternative sound that I mentioned, and a band like Dave Matthews comes up. And, some people might throw parallels between the two, but Dave Matthews is a jam band. And I think the difference here is that, these guys might jam when you see them live. I'm sure they do, actually. But these compositions, they don't feel like jams. They still feel like compositions with a loose structure, almost like jazz. And that's what I really, really enjoyed about this particular song as well. Really just a nice way of highlighting that loose improvisational feel that they're really good at working with. And I just thought that was a really cool song. Your sixth song, Proper Jack Froster, is my other favorite song on this record. It's got this psychedelic pop intro, just funky bass again, really like the keys. Beautiful strings on this song. Again, just so many different layers and textures to this beautiful 6-minute song. It's gorgeous. There's this big jam pretty much from like the last second minute to like the last minute. And they're just rocking out. This song is incredible. Really enjoyed it. Bats in the Belfry is your seventh song. It's got this it's this macabre sounding instrumental, excuse me, but it's groovy. It's got great horns as well, and I really like this drum breakdown that's featured in the song. It's pretty cool. Oak and Stone is your penultimate track. It's got this ballady intro for the first half of it, and then the second half of the song, it really just immediately turns into this beautiful jazz pop fusion. It's nicely well done. And then Welcome to the Planet is your final song. It's actually written by Carly Bryant, who's a touring member of theirs. So really cool to have a contribution from her on this record. A beautiful song and an album closer that really is going to highlight all the different things that this band is capable of just doing so well. A little psychedelic, ambient. It's just a really fun way to close out what is a beautiful record. And again, this is a bittersweet affair, but I hope you enjoy it all. And I hope that, all you members of Big Big Train are able to find some sort of peace moving forward through this situation. I can't imagine how difficult this must be for all of you. But, this record is it's just a great way to remember David by. And I'm glad that we have this. So we're going to vinyl please this. I hope you enjoyed this record, and I hope you find this review helpful. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022. And we will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.